Imagine this, a blazing drug boat burning in the Caribbean, survivors struggling to stay afloat. Then, bam. A second strike hits, leaving nothing behind. Fog of war, or a cold-blooded kill? Now, U.S. Defence Secretary Pete Hegseth has just dropped a bombshell that's shaking the Pentagon.
I did not personally see survivors, but I stand, because the thing was on fire. It was exploded in fire or smoke, you can't see anything, you got digital, this is called the fog of war.
U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth steps into the spotlight, and his words land like a shockwave. He admits he did not personally see survivors before a second strike was launched on what the Pentagon called an alleged drug boat. Inside a tense White House cabinet meeting, Hegseth blames the chaos on the fog of war. He says the boat was burning, exploding, impossible to see anything. But he also says he learned about the second strike, authorized by top Navy Admiral Frank Bradley, only hours later. And then comes the line that echoes across Washington, "We have his back."
And I wish everybody could be in the room watching our professionals like Mitch Bradley, Admiral Mitch Bradley, and others at JSOC and SOCOM and other commanders. The deliberative process, the detail, the rigorous, the intel, the legal, the evidence-based way that we're able to, with sources and methods that we can't reveal here, make sure that every one of those drug boats is tied to a designated terrorist organization. We know who's on it, what they're doing, what they're carrying. All these white bales are not Christmas gifts from Santa. This is drugs running on motor fast boats or submarines that we've also struck. No one's fishing on a submarine. And I have empowered them to make that call. Now, the first couple of strikes, as any leader would want, you want to own that responsibility. So I said, I'm going to be the one to make the call after getting all the information and make sure it's the right strike. That was September 2nd. There's a lot of intelligence that goes into that, building that case and understanding that. A lot of people providing information. I watched that first strike live. As you can imagine, at the Department of War, we got a lot of things to do. So I didn't stick around for the hour and 2 hours, whatever, where all the sensitive site exploitation digitally occurs. So I moved on to my next meeting. A couple of hours later, I learned that commander had made which he had the complete authority to do. And by the way, Admiral Bradley made the correct decision to ultimately sink the boat and eliminate the threat. He sunk the boat, and eliminated the threat. And it was the right call. We have his back, and the American people are safer because narco-terrorists know you can't bring drugs through the water and eventually on land if necessary to the American people. We will eliminate that threat, and we're proud to do it.
So you didn't see any survivors, to be clear, after that first strike?
I did not personally see survivors, but I stand, because the thing was on fire. It was exploded in fire or smoke, you can't see anything, you got digital. This is called the fog of war. This is what you in the press don't understand. You sit in your air-conditioned offices or up on Capitol Hill and you nitpick and you plant fake stories in the Washington Post about kill everybody, phrases on anonymous sources not based in anything, not based in any truth at all. And then you want to throw out really irresponsible terms about American heroes, about the judgment that they made. I wrote a whole book on this topic because of what politicians and the press does to warfighters. President Trump has empowered commanders to do what is necessary, which is dark and difficult things in the dead of night on behalf of the American people. We support them, and we will stop the poisoning of the American people.
But the fallout is growing. The Washington Post first uncovered details about the follow-on strike, a report Hegseth called fabricated, even as his own comments have confirmed parts of it. Both Democrats and Republicans are raising alarms, demanding answers. President Trump defends Admiral Bradley too, but carefully steps back from the decision itself. "We didn't know about it," he says, before adding a far more chilling line. "I want those boats taken out."
As far as the attack is concerned, I still haven't gotten a lot of information because I rely on Pete. But to me, it was an attack. It wasn't one strike, two strikes, three strikes. Somebody asked me a question about the second strike. I didn't know about the second strike. I didn't know anything about people. I wasn't involved in it. I knew they took out a boat. But I would say this, they had a strike. I hear the gentleman that was in charge of that is extraordinary. He's an extraordinary person. I'll let Pete speak about him. But Pete was satisfied. Pete didn't know about second attack having to do with two people. I guess Pete would have to speak to it. I can say this, I want those boats taken out. And if we have to, we'll attack on land also, just like we attack on sea. And there's very little coming in by sea. I think we've knocked out over 90% of it. There's very little, and I understand that. There's very little. We're saving hundreds of thousands of lives with those pinpoint attacks.
The incident dates back to September 2nd. A first strike reportedly left 2 survivors clinging to the burning vessel. Then, according to multiple accounts, a second strike ended their lives. Since early September, more than 80 people have been killed in similar operations across the Caribbean and Eastern Pacific. Now, questions grow louder with Hegseth's confirmation. Were the laws of armed conflict violated? Who knew what? And in a rapidly expanding shadow war at sea, how many more secrets remain underwater?